Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the live in-person and live Zoom worship service of the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside. Our opening hymn this morning is number 346, Come Sing a Song With Me, from the Gray Hymnal. Please feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you, but with your masks on. Now, everyone, please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 346, Come Sing a Song With Me.
Come sing a song with me, come sing a song with me, come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
Thank you all for joining us here in person, and thank you for joining us remotely by Zoom, where we will continue live streaming and posting these services on our YouTube channel for our virtual attendees. I'm Grace Preuss, a member of the worship committee, and I will be your worship associate today. Other members of the worship committees serving today include Alec Peck, who is up there singing our hymns, and also Margaret, who's helping us out today with our devices, and Lee Greer, who is taking care of the soundboard today. We welcome you to join us this morning with an open mind and an open heart, and with muted electronic devices, please. Thank you for rising an hour earlier than we have been accustomed to join us here today. Welcome to this sanctuary and community where we learn, live, and love together. All are welcome as we worship that which gives each of us meaning and value. This is our spiritual home, a sacred space where we gather to give worth and meaning to our lives. Today, we invite each of you to reflect on the value this church has in your lives and what each of us can offer to this community of love and care. Although our doors are open, the pandemic is not over. So while we are in the sanctuary, please keep your masks on while singing or chanting. And let's all take personal responsibility to keep both ourselves and one another safe. Before we move into the service, there are a few announcements we would like to share. We will mention several websites, email addresses, and phone numbers. At the end of the service, we will leave up a slide with all of this information, and it is also available on our website. The annual pledge drive. The annual pledge drive for the 2023-24 fiscal year begins with a pledge luncheon today at 11:30 to 1:30. All members and friends are invited. The St. Patrick's Day Luncheon. The luncheon will be held on Saturday, March 18th at 1 p.m. in the Parish Hall. Please note that the time is earlier than we have had in the past. Tickets are on sale now and are pre-sale only. Please purchase your tickets by Thursday, March 16th. We hope to see you there. And now I invite you to sit back and take a slow, deep breath as we move into the worship hour. You are welcome to read with me the mission statement of our church. Our mission is to foster a diverse religious community that celebrates life, affirms the individual, encourages spiritual growth and open thought, and works to advance social justice and environmental sustainability. The Reverend James Jay Leach served as senior minister at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Charlotte, North Carolina. He served as an American Baptist minister in progressive congregations for about 16 to 17 years. After that time, Reverend Leach decided to transfer his ordination to Unitarian Universalism. He believes that religious community has the power to change people's lives and to change the world. Today's sermon is entitled, The Infinite Enlargement of the Heart. The sermon was the winner of the 2012 Stewardship Sermon Award, shared with the First Unitarian Church of Columbus, Ohio, on Sunday, February 5th, 2012. Reverend Leach focuses his sermon on the principle that we are all part of an interdependent web of life, and reflects on the ways this web of life is important to not only the survival of our church and the world through pledging, but the joys that can come from doing so. We have two lightings of sacred flames. The first is the occupied Indigenous Peoples Remembrance Candle. The second is the lighting of our own chalice, the symbol of our faith. We walk upon the traditional territories of diverse and sovereign peoples, the original people of this land, who continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. This spot we occupy was first the sacred space of several groups of Indigenous peoples, including the Cahuilla, the Cupeño, and the Serrano. We, the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside, light this sacred flame as the stewards of this sacred and holy place. We are blessed with a space and opportunity to strive to live out our common principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to be part of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. Today's reading for the Chalice lighting is by Christine Robinson. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life that we share together. Thank you, Bill and Bill. Greeting our guests. We have a tradition at UUCR to welcome those who are visitors or perhaps returning after some time away. We know it can be uncomfortable to stand up and speak in front of others, and so I will now ask for a volunteer from someone who has been here a while to tell us your name and how you found out about our church. We ask you to step close to the mic here in front of the pulpit and speak into it directly and clearly so everyone can hear. Please be aware that you will be visible on our Zoom camera and in the recording of this service, which is posted online. Now, do we have any church members who would like to volunteer for us this morning? Thank you, Linda. Appreciate it. Tell us your name, how long you have been here, and how you found out about our church.
My name is Linda Van Voorhis. I came here originally in 1996. I had some volatile teenage issues, and I was looking for community and some spiritual support as well. I have been here ever since, and I definitely found both of those things since it's been close to 30 years now. So welcome. And if you have any questions, please see me after.
Thank you, Linda. And that's how it's done. So if you are new here, a visitor, or an old friend, please raise your hand to stand up and come up to the mic in front of the pulpit. Do we have anyone who'd like to introduce themselves this morning? Okay. If there's someone online who would like to introduce themselves, please raise your hand and we will call on you by Zoom. Please let us know who you are, where you are from, and how you found out about us. Okay. For any other new guests, please join us for socializing and coffee hour after the service. We'd love to chat with you out in the parish hall, where you can also find our visitors book. Please leave your name before you leave so that we know you are here, and leave your contact information if you'd like to know about upcoming events. For those online, the best way to get added to the mailing list is to email the church office at admin@uuchurchofriverside.org. Our hymn now is number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place, from the Teal hymnal. Please feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you, but again, with your masks on. Please stand in body or spirit and join us now in singing number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. Sharing our stewardship. This portion of our service is to support our beloved historical church. This can be accomplished in several ways. In addition to the weekly collection, you may send your checks to the church address, which is shown here. You may contribute by PayPal using the QR code, which is also shown here, as well as on the church website and in the newsletter. Stater Brothers Market gives our church a rebate on Stater grocery cards, which we will have in church each Sunday. You will get the full value, and the church also receives a percentage for free. Please see Dinah Rowe to purchase the gift cards. Please donate as the Spirit moves you by whatever method works best for you. Thank you for your generosity. And to those who give of their time and their talent, thank you for your generous care and attention. Will our ushers now please come forward to receive the collection? Thank you. Our next hymn is number 402, From You I Receive, from the Gray Hymnal. Please feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you, but with your masks on. Please stand and body your spirit and join us in singing hymn number 402, From You I Receive.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
Our meditation today is a responsive reading titled This House by Kenneth L. Patton. Please join me in reading the bold italicized words. This house is for the ingathering of nature and human nature. It is a house of freedom, guarding the dignity and worth of every person. It is a house of truth-seeking, where scientists can encourage devotion to their quest, where mystics can abide in a community of searchers. It is a house of prophecy, outrunning times past and times present in visions of growth and progress. Now let us pause for a moment of silence. Now I would like to introduce our member, Linda Van Voorhis, who will be reading for us the sermon, The Infinite Engagement of the Heart by Reverend James C. Leach. Linda?
Thank you, Grace. For those who are visiting, this is what we call our Pledge Sunday. We are self-supporting. We don't get any funds from any other higher organization within the UEA pyramid. We support ourselves. So once a year, we sit down and we talk about who we are and where we want to go when we talk about money. So this is our Sunday to do that. I hope, even if you're not a member and that is not your thing today, that this sermon will still give you an opportunity to see what we are about. So with that, this sermon was not, you too. Doesn't matter. This sermon was not written by me, but it does reflect, because I had the opportunity to choose it out, it does reflect my perspective of the world and our church. And with that, the infinite enlargement of the heart. The late playwright Arthur Miller once offered a New York Times commentary in which he admitted, "I no longer remember how many years it took for me to realize I was making a mistake in the Pledge of Allegiance. With high passion, I stood beside my seat in my Harlem grammar school and repeated the pledge of the flag, which always drooped next to the teacher's desk. But he got it wrong." Offering a context for understanding his ongoing misstating, Miller continued, "Dirigibles were much in the news in the early 1920s, thus the patriotic connection. With that, Miller then acknowledged that each and every morning he attested to one nation in a dirigible and with liberty and justice for all. He recalled, "I could actually see in my mind's eye hordes of faces looking down on the earth through windows of the Navy's airships. The whole United States was up there, all for one and one for all, and the whole gang in that dirigible. One day, maybe I could get to ride in it too, for I was deeply patriotic. And the height of Americanism, as I understood it, was to ride in a dirigible." While school kids may still stand hand over heart and recite the words of the pledge, I am fairly confident that not one of them makes the same mistake. A dirigible? What in the world is a dirigible? Those floating airships are a thing of the past, bygone relics, as ancient as those wall-mounted crane telephones in use back before we started filling our pockets with phones that can outsmart us. This is not, however, to suggest that the children are now not confused when they encounter the word indivisible. Quite a mouthful for an elementary-aged tyke parroting a pledge. However, the regrettable question I would need to raise here today is, for how many adults in this nation, whether their allegiance is pledged to our flag or not, does the word indivisible still have meaning? And we still united around a common committed to indivisibility. Some suggest instead that our common denominator is a low one indeed, maybe the collective intoning of a song with a repeated refrain. What is it for me? It is a monotonic chorus, skipping over the notes do and re and landing repeatedly on the solitary sound of one note, me, 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 me. Since as adults, we are rarely asked to recite the pledge, let me remind you that is allegiance pledged not just to the flag, but to the republic. From the Latin, res publica, which can be rendered in an unadorned vernacular as a public thing. Republic, a refrain to the collective, to that which is held publicly, a synonym of another thing, the Commonwealth. If you listen to the recent retching of bitterness, posing as political recourse, you have not heard much about the Commonwealth. Commonwealth? Really? It sounds as quaint and dusty as dirigible and maybe indivisible. Anachronism at odds with our addiction to the query, what is in it for me? Frank Kirkpatrick, in a commentary just this week, admitted by the way of his title, he was searching for the common good in political discourse. He pointed out how 3 of those fighting for the Republican Party's nods have cited religious ideas from their traditions, but then noted in a political campaign among contenders, it is striking that one central Christian religious theme seems to be absent, the theme of the common good. For all of these candidates, the legacy of the notion of the common good seems somewhat embarrassing. Why? Kirkpatrick wondered, then answered his own question. Because the common good is a notion that trumps the current rhetoric of radical individualism and minimal government. It is an uncomfortable nation that does not sit easily with the call to free people from the burdens of having to care for others, especially when that care may well entail a tax on one's resources. My contention today to you, my co-religicists, is this: the most radical, controversial, counterculture message we offer in our particular liberal religion may not be about marriage, equality, or economic justice, or environmental activism, or any of our other social stances, as important as those are. Our most radical, controversial, counter message just may be our affirmation that each of us, every single individual one of us, is a part of an interdependent web of all existence. To make such an affirmation with full integrity suggests that what's in it for me is directly completely intertwined with what's in it for us. If the web of existence of which we are each parts truly is interdependent then is really only the common good. This radical notion is not a new one among those of us religious ilk. Our 19th century religious forebear, Ralph Waldo Emerson, is, I think, and I've spent not a little time thinking about this one, mischaracterized as a vigorous individualist. In his central essay, The Oversoul, Emerson attests to the common heart, to this unity of thought in which every heart beats, to a larger imbibing of the common heart. He dares to assert that the heart in you is in the heart of all. He actually believes in what he refers to as the infinite engagement of the heart. The infinite engagement of the heart, it suggests health is always a public health. Well-being, never private, is never isolated, individual sort of thing. It brings it back to the res publica, the public thing. Maybe Arthur Miller was, unknowingly and metaphorically, onto something in his misstating of the pledge. Maybe his image is an apt one. We are all in this together, as if suspended in a dirigible. There is no other ship in the air, on the sea, on this earth, where we reside together. So Jane Hirschfeld proposes, the only sin is distance, refusal. It is all, as she says, Saltart is just all swept in together. Now, this idealistic message gets quite a bit harder when we realize that if our radical claim about interdependence is going to have real integrity, we will have to model it in our congregations. We can't call for a commonwealth when we don't invoke the common good outside these walls. If we don't live as a commonwealth, if we don't act for the common good within them. On Friday, I met with a stunned, shocked widow of one of our most active members who suddenly, unexpectedly died Wednesday afternoon. She doesn't need the freedom to find her own path right now. She wasn't coming in to assert her personal position on some issue. She wasn't asking for the right to be a religious individualist. She desperately needs a community, a group of people whose interests are larger than the self-interests, a congregation that can embody some belief that her well-being and our well-being are inextricably tied together, as if in some expansive web. Last Sunday, it was our coming out of age youth beginning to craft their ways of expressing that to which they are giving their hearts, which is our way of talking about a credo. Each of them paired with an adult mentor, some women, some men, who believe in some sort of way that the child's well-being is inextricably tied to her or his own, as if some expansive web. Earlier that afternoon, quite a few of our contingent went to celebrate the opening of a beautiful new housing complex for our homeless neighbors. One of the apartments in that amazing place bears the name of our congregation because we wrote a sizable check to aid its construction. You see, we as a congregation are actively involved in work on issues of homelessness and affordable housing because we believe that the well-being of our neighbors is inextricably tied in our own, as if in some expansive web. Here's something else we do because of that belief. We go to each of our members every year and we ask him or her to consider a financial contribution of 5% of his or her gross household income. Some ignore that message, some scoff at it, some get a bit miffed by it. But increasingly, there are those embracing it because they believe that we can't be the kind of congregation we need and want to be. We can't embody that amazingly good news of our liberal religion without adequate financial resources to make that possible. Part of what is making our members open to that message is the fact we make a commitment to one another that we are going to pledge as generously as we possibly can on an annual basis to a unified annual budget. And the other funds we raise, all the other funds we raise, go to causes outside of our congregation. We do it this way because we truly believe that our well-being is tied up with one another as if in an expansive web. Now, I know you are wondering why just 5%. For this reason, people attracted to our liberal religion have many, many things about which they care deeply. So we only ask for 5% and urge our members to commit another 5% to the larger community, to the common good. My partner and I made that commitment to our congregation on the day I was called there. We will give at least 5% of our gross household income to the church and at least another 5% to the larger community. It is an act of spiritual discipline for us, but it's more than that. It is the source of one of our deepest joys. On our refrigerator for the past couple of years, we have had a picture of a dear friend of mine, my documentary filmmaking partner, who was given an outrageous federal prison sentence for a first-time nonviolent drug offense. Her film about this woman got a great deal of attention and made her case one of national prominence. A few years back, this woman informed us that she had discovered a way to get a paralegal degree while in prison. We gladly, enthusiastically responded that we pay her tuition out of the 5% we give to the greater community. So, besides her picture on a refrigerator hangs her paralegal school diploma, a little testimony to the deep joy of our generosity. Tomorrow morning, my beloved partner will board a plane. On Tuesday morning, she will be the one standing at the gate when just over 18 years this woman is freed from prison. They will share in their first embrace outside of the walls of a prison. My partner will drive her to a nearby airport, put a plane ticket in her hand, a plane ticket we have gotten for her with the help of one of our members, watch her walk away to board the plane, bound for her 3 daughters in the city where they live. Let me tell you without any hesitation, there is absolutely no way we could have spent or invested our money that would more profoundly enhance our well-being. Mine, my partner's, this woman's, maybe the world. When we consider what happens to what we give gladly to our congregation, we feel the same way. Kids are taught with our money. Grieving families are cared for. Old prejudices are broken down. New self-images are built up. Beautiful music is offered with our money. Meals are delivered. Great fun is had. Minds are disturbed, change. Hearts are lifted, bolstered, filled. Deep needs in and outside of our walls are addressed. With our contribution of several $1,000s, alongside many, many other similar sorts of contributions, we do 2 things. We change our lives and we change the world. And because I believe so deeply in our professed affirmation, we truly do live as a part of an interdependent web of all existence, I know the common good is my good as well. So believing your good is tied up with mine, I invite you, join us. Join many others in our congregation. Join with many others already deeply engaged here in this congregation. Join us in generous participation and contributions. We are all in this together. We need one another. We need the good news of the liberal religion. This community, our nation, and our world needs our radical, controversial, countercultural message that there are questions far, far more important than what's in it for me. It starts, says Marge Piercy, it starts when you care to act. It starts when you say we and know who you mean. And each day you mean one more, and one more, and one more, and I'm going to add this here, Grace. After the service, we normally have a talk about the sermon. We're going to change that a little bit because this is Pledge Sunday. What we would like to talk with you about, and certainly include you, as to how do you see our future in the upcoming year? What can we do to help the common good, both inside and out? What kind of visions do you have for this church? They don't have to be realistic. That's okay. We do understand that the future is the future. It matters to us what's important to you as to where we go. So after the service, when we do the 15 to 20 minute talk, we're going to invite you to come up and express those ideas. Thank you.
Our closing hymn now is number 1024, When the Spirit Says Do, from the Teal hymnal. Please feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you, but with your masks on. Please stand now in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 1024, When the Spirit Says Do.
You got to do when the Spirit says do. You got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you got to do. Oh Lord, you got to do when the Spirit says do.
And now, may we have faith and life to do wise planting, that the generations to come may reap even more abundantly than we. May we be bold in bringing to fruition the golden dreams of human kinship and justice. This we ask, that the fields of promise become fields of reality. Namaste, amen, and blessed be.